active listening here at SMORE, as I like to call it. Active listening has led me to realize that people who have accomplished the things that they set out to do are saying a variation of the same thing, about how to be successful, how to follow your dreams, how to be the best version of yourself, how to write a book. They are saying that you must listen, believe in yourself, trust God, be kind, put in the work, be humble, be open, read a lot, be brave, forgive, love yourself, always try, never give up. Surround yourself with good people, make a plan, but don't chain yourself to it. Live your life on your own terms and with no regrets. I sat in plenty of audiences listening to professional writers and waiting eagerly for the question and answer period. I'm the first to raise my hand and ask, how do you write a book? Annoyingly, every time. There's some varied response. If it just happens, you just do it. I could just pull my teeth right out of my mouth and stick them into the eyes of those stingy, stingy poets, I'm telling you. Their responses have always been the most infuriating thing for me to hear, and yet someone, anybody, asks me, how did you write your first book? Well, I just did it. It just happened. The reason why so many people have responded to me this way is because it's the truth I found. I'm learning that the act of writing a book is just so mundane as to almost be not worth telling. But I'm going to tell you anyway, since we're not being hypocrites here. 8 years ago, I'm a creative writing major at Cleveland School of the Arts under the mentorship of Daniel Gray-Kantar. I'm writing every day. I'm not editing my own work at this point. I don't believe in editing, nor do I really understand how to do it. I am, however, constantly editing other people's work, and I learn after a while how to edit as I write. I've been to the Kenyon Young Writers Residency, the Atlantic Center for the Arts Writing Residency, New York State Summer Writers Institute, name dropping here. I've produced tens of poems at a time in these places. I've taken and facilitated so many writing workshops that I can't count them. I'm writing in class, on the bus, at home, in airports, at grocery stores, in the malls, in the passenger seat of cars. Eventually, I look up and over 300 pages of poetry have accumulated. I've realized that I've written my first book over time, boringly, unremarkably, so much so that I can't even tell you when I wrote my first poem or where I was when I wrote it. It was writing whenever I got the chance. It was putting myself in positions to share my work and get feedback. It was a God matter. What I'm in the process of doing right now are smaller edits, a series of picking up paper and putting it down, positioning the poems in the order that I want and being clear on what I want to say with the collection as a whole. There's no paint on my clothes, no fireworks jump in the air once I'm satisfied with the poem. We want for there to be an extraordinary moment or instance in which everything magically comes together. Writing a book is amazing, don't get me wrong, honestly. Writing a book is the first and most consistent dream that I've ever had. But as amazing and earth-shatteringly pleasing as it is to write a book, the heart of writing a book, of doing anything really, is how are we living our lives? Art imitates life. It's like my favorite poem called Baby Girl from my book. I'll perform it for you now. I order my own food now. When did that happen? Maybe when I thought about writing a poem the day after I got my first car, my dad followed me to school. Would have been full of imagery about growing up. I didn't write that poem, though. I asked my dad, want to know what I learned in school? Because he say I'm a lady, it's a shame my roommate cleans, so I say my cleanliness has nothing to do with my womanhood. When did that happen? Naked in the shower, blood running down dark brown grass. I'm not that concerned about shaving anymore. When did that happen? Freshman year, I can tell you that. Point is, I'm washing my own hair now. Last time Mama washed it was before I knew what American taking over my African roots meant. I said, Mommy, I can wash my own hair. Why did that happen? There ain't none more luxuries of mama's hands and my nappy head, food being ordered for me, reading in the passenger seats. Baby girl, you have grown up so fast. Short stories in elementary about erotica full of excitement after shots to the uterus because you became a woman. You don't wear bras anymore. All you've ever wanted was freedom. You're getting it. You got a paper filled with typewriter-written words on your soul, knowledge about the bright blackness in your smile, melanin, in your passion-filled walk of daydreams, roses of downtown snippets, conversations about why you're objectified, making love, and Giovanni's room jam into poetry slams, turned into poetry slammed into 90-degree angle songs about money making ass clap, pause. The correct term is gift ancestors gave, and if money is code word for the beat of African drums, by all means clap away insecurities buried in social construction. You are beautiful. You know you are beautiful, baby girl. No one can deny how you have taken your freedom from every hand trying to keep it from you. But I promise you, I blinked. And somehow you showed up in front of me, so please, baby girl, for me, for you, take a seat on the passenger side. Allow mommy's love to caress your young scalp. Give me time to breathe in, out, reflect. Before you grow up anymore, baby girl, please, let that happen. No matter how slow or fast we are growing, the point is that we're growing. If art imitates life, there is value in understanding that most of life is not inexhaustibly colorful and exciting, like washing my hair again after almost 3 weeks. It being days since the last time I combed it out, looking like an old, irritated, disgusted, and arthritis-laden Alabama granny. I can't figure out how my hair gets to be nappy if it's been in the same style all this time. Can't understand why I'd ever asked to do this for myself. I get out the shower and try and grease my scalp, and I realize that I can't even do that right. The truth is that in order to manage your hair, it must be tended to on a daily basis. Life is like that. At some point, you realize that you can't do everything all at once. Everything gets tangled up and you get frustrated, and all you can think about is how nothing makes sense. You realize at some point you asked to wash your own hair, to be your own person, to write your own book, to live your own life. Then you realize that once you get to do it, you don't know how. And when you say, Mommy, I can wash my own hair, you think there's some magical, extraordinary experience that will come along with washing your own hair, living your own life, writing your own book. Then you find yourself crying in the shower. If we agree that art is an imitation of life, we agree that most of it is mundane, and a series of reminders that everything can't and won't come all at once. Therefore, we must be asking ourselves if we are leading lives that can seamlessly lead into the realization of our wildest dreams. What choices are we making every day? What truths are we chasing and actually confronting once we catch and find them, as frightening and uncomfortable as they are? Who and what are we surrounded by? How have we positioned ourselves in this world? What kind of atmosphere are we living in? If we have acute insecurity, feelings of worthlessness, fear, anxiety, worry, familial and unfamilial, sexual assault and abuse, like me, for instance, what are we doing in the time that we have, in the time that we create, to set ourselves up for a life that includes us seeing our goals through with little consistent steps over time? I have committed my life to doing everything I can to go to sleep at night with no regrets, with no resentments. It has been my everyday life choices, my everyday commitment, my everyday resolve to never give up on what I love, on who I am, or on what I want to do in life that creates a womb for my first book of poetry to grow in naturally over time. Doing the thing itself, the writing the book, is not the noteworthy thing. The noteworthy thing is how have you learned to live your life in such a way that the things you want, that you desire, that you were made for, can occur so often in such a mundane way that at some point you blink and it shows up right in front of you. I'll tell you the secret that you want to know, that you don't really want to know. Are you ready? Yeah. It's just that you slow down. You slow down, you do a little bit every day, you live, you go to work, you argue with your mother, you cry because your ovaries told you to, right? You sleep too late, you forget your keys, you comb out your hair often, you fart, you love, you leave, you return. You surrender to and obey the command to record the words that come to you at odd hours and inconvenient times. And all of a sudden, you'll have amassed a body of work, and you'll be looking back and asking yourself, when did that happen? You want the heart-wrenching and simultaneously orgasmic experience, the moments of brilliance and reward. You want it immediately. You want the paint and the fireworks, but you can't have any of that without the mundane. Even when you do have those extraordinary moments that surely do occur every now and again, it's a second of Nina Simone's voice surrounded by your father's loud snoring. Constantly being on high is not real. Perfection is fluff and quite frankly not that valuable. I'll leave you with this. When you hold my book in your hands, when you absent-mindedly thumb the textured spine of the book, when I'm reading you more poems and you're on the edge of your chair, I hope, waiting patiently and eagerly for the question and answer period, when finally you ask me, what did I do? How did I write my first book? I'm going to tell you, I learned to master the arts of the mundane. Thank you.